The following is a presentation of the Force Center podcast feed.
From the center of the galaxy, this is the Force Center podcast feed. I'm Ken Knapsack for another edition of Star Wars Rank. Me and a guest ranking things in Star Wars, and here to do that today is Joseph Scrimshaw. Hello, friend.
Oh, I am happy to be here and doing some ranking. We always have lots of different topics, but this one's a kind of a really breaking new ground for us, I think.
I love that idea. Let's break some new ground 145 episodes into this run. I love it. What we are going to be ranking today is our favorite pieces of art, you could say, from the art of Star Wars, The Mandalorian Season 2. Of course, this is written by Phil Szostak, who is just a very talented individual, and there's so many talented artists reflected in this book. This is the concept art, the art that you sometimes see in the end credits of Mandalorian. It's all the things that go into the design, the makeup, the aesthetic, the feel of these shows. Joseph, we love these books, and this one came to us, and we're like, we got to rank some stuff here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the art of Mandalorian books are extra fascinating because the concept art is, a part of the show, right? Mm-hmm. It's a part of the mood of the show. So to, get these books and read through all of the insights, all of the incredibly hard work and thought that goes into all of these images, and to see some of the your favorites that you've already seen on screen, but then to see all of everything from just kind of like character ideas to just like these shocking, effective moments where you see something that you're very familiar with, but in an entirely new context. It's just it looking through this book, reading it, and just staring at the pictures to pick my favorites. It's one of those kind of experiences that just sort of reignite my passion for this world and these characters and these ideas.
Yeah, and to learning about the creative process that goes into them and just maybe fully understanding them. It's so much. And the lead time on these projects, I love reading the notes where it's like, oh yeah, this was from early 2018. We're like, this was even a dream. Like, we had not even thought, like, Favreau was still kind of working this together. I mean, his original pitch and conversation was in like November 2017. I love hearing that. I love being reminded of all that. And we were talking recently, and our co-host and pal Jennifer Landis said something that really struck you, Joseph, as you read these books, right? About the process and what goes into these shows.
Yeah, we were having the Great Grand Inquisitors look debate, and Jennifer just really reminded that sometimes people can say like, oh, this was done too quickly, they didn't put thought into it, and Jennifer was just really reminding, like, whatever your opinion of anything in Star Wars might be, it is so much work and thought that goes into everything. And as an audience, it's always fine if you disagree with the final result. It doesn't work for you. But these books stand as just a testament to the truth that everything is considered, and so much effort that goes into approaching all of this work from a spirit of exploration and creativity and why not and what if, and philosophically opposed to the idea that can get hurled out there about they just did it quick, it was lazy, right?
Yeah,
totally fine if it doesn't work for you, but these books so well constructed and written by Phil Szostak are a tribute to the entire opposite philosophy of that.
Yeah, and then also the philosophy that we love around here of why not, of pushing boundaries, going bigger. So much there with Favreau kind of leading this team. There's some great notes, some great paragraphs to just digest of the creative process, his thoughts, the themes in there, Filoni's statements, other people, and just the artists themselves. So many great artists talking about their process and what they put in the designs. It's always a fun read. So why not rank?
Absolutely. So it was really great to spend some more quality time with it, and I'm excited for these images.
Yeah, and as we record, you might occasionally hear a flipping sound. It's because even, we know our lists here. We've got our choices. We have the book in front of us here, so pardon our dust as we flip through pages on this episode here. We are going to rank our favorite pieces of art from the Art of Mandalorian Season 2 book, which doesn't necessarily mean it's the best, but it's what grabs us. And they're all pretty darn good, by the way, but it's what grabs us, speaks to us, makes us think so many other thoughts. We are going to work our way 5-1, beginning with Joseph's number 5. What do you got?
Yeah, this, as always, was challenging. I had more than I thought I would, but I'm gonna go with something that, for my number 5, that had that vibe of the old and the new that I love in Star Wars so much. It's a character that I've seen many illustrations of, in a context, a pose that felt fresh and new. I'm going to page 184, 185. If any listeners are flipping along with us, we should make an R2D2 beep to turn the page like those old books did. Page 184, 185. It is what I'm calling Fett in the fire spray. So it's conceptual art, I think, to really kind of get the space of Fett's classic ship down. And there's a lot of just great details of the interior of the ship, the ladder, and some junk, and kind of the open grating that is opening in through the floor to just glowing red mechanical apparatus. It's it's a lot like Fett himself. It's kind of it looks armored but stripped down. Just a great look of the ship. And if it was just a ship, I'd be like, cool. But in particular, on the first page, Fett himself is just standing in the middle of it all, not up close, but a tiny figure. And this is entirely the Star Wars version of one of those old shows that used to be more popular, of like, let's visit the famous people in their homes. This is like a lifestyles of the rich and famous for Boba Fett. It's like Boba Fett's turning like, welcome to my ship. This is where I live. I'll show you around. It's just got that entire vibe to it, which I just love. And then on the other page, it's kind of a similar space, but from a different point of view. And this time, Fett is turned away from the camera, just doing some stuff. He's like, look, if you guys got to look around, take your photos, fine, but I'm getting back to work.
Yeah. This is truly lifestyles of the Fett and famous going on.
Exactly. Absolutely love it, because it's just the kind of images that, like, it could just be practical, right? To decide what does the interior of this ship look like, but there's such art in it. And to me, the art is made by where Fett is in the space. And it suddenly becomes not just a concept art, but like, I'd hang this on my wall. I'm sure we're going to say that a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the first one on page 84, which is his one, he's looking at the camera, like I said, and giving the tour. He's almost like, looks like he's holding like an iPad. I know it's not what it is, but it's like he's doing inventory, like about to go get in the battle. And he's like, got this, got that, seismic charges, check. And
he's just stocking up on knee darts, Ken.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's got a collection of knee darts. Oh gosh, I'd love that. I'd go to a rack of knee darts. Yeah, and look, there's so much mystery inside the ship, right? For years of just how does it work? And Mando season 2 kind of answered that. They had fun with that. And so to actually see the art of like, here's what it could be on the inside. I love that.
Yeah, so that is my number 5. Just it's something old that becomes absolutely new again. Fett that gives us a tour of the old fire spray.
The old fire spray tour. Interesting that we both, and this is the Mandalorian season 2. We both start our list with the other guy, Boba Fett. So that's where I'm going. And hey, I guess turnabout fair play because of the Book of Boba Fett episodes that everyone loves to talk about. My number 5 is all the way to the beginning. Page 16, it is Boba Fett and the Twin Sons. This is the concept art about the reveal and the return of Boba Fett, confirming that those jangly boots you heard in season 1 were, in fact, his. And now you look at this picture, and it means so much more because of Book of Boba Fett and how he got these weapons, this look. And we had those questions and we saw it. But this photo is just pretty simple. It is looking from behind Fett out towards the famous twin sons of Tatooine, flowing big brown robe, the gaffy stick, the cycler rifle there, and then no helmet, his scarred head, and clearly the head of Tamara Morrison there. So I just love everything about it. Yeah, you're right. Hanging on a wall, this absolutely is a piece of art. Really love this design here. And not much more I can say other than just inspire. I thought that was one of my favorite things in Mandalorian season 2. I thought there was some just great acting in that moment where he's just living this character's pain and the history that we had yet to learn about. And we made it so curious to learn more. Truly tip of the iceberg moment here. And this art kind of just encapsulates all that for me.
Yeah, I think so. It celebrates that moment that we had of like, oh, are they doing it?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Is it Fett? And oh, it is, and it's Tamura Morrison. But why does he have the Tusken gear? Is that because as it turns out he was taken in by them, or did he just mercilessly take it from Tuskens?
Yeah.
We didn't know at the time, right? And it was
Did not.
this moment of the confirmation of the return, but with all these great questions. And then going back to that, just in this image in particular, that classic relationship of that binary sunset, like staring off into the horizon is powerful in any photo right here on Earth with our one sun. But those double suns, that sense of literally like kind of the binary of what are you going to choose, what's in your future, what's over the horizon, so much that's kind of packed into that image is so at play here. I love it. I was saying on another show that I recently reread Hemingway's Old Man and the Sea, and there is that feeling of Boba Fett being this older person who has been through a lot, who wears his scars and just kind of has whatever he needs on his back and is determined. And it reminded me, this image reminds me of the same kind of vibe that I get from that book and how it connects to Boba Fett.
It is the old Fett in the Dune Sea indeed right here.
Exactly.
Brian,
exactly.
Brian Mattis, I think I'm saying that right, is the artist on this one here. So shout out to him. Gosh, yeah, it's great stuff. And yeah, you're right. Just what that seeing him back and just like, oh wow, they are doing this and no more rumors and speculation. That is Fett. And what does this all mean? What a great concept art piece right here to launch that for us as fans.
Absolutely.
We are off and rolling. Are we going to get Mando in his own list here? We'll find out soon enough here. Joseph, what is your number 4?
Look, Mando is in this one. He is, but he is not alone. For my number 4, I'm going to page 164. And this was one that I really loved because it's totally Star Wars. It evokes moments that do happen in the episode, but it also evokes something else I love. It is a mashup of Star Wars and comic book superheroes. On page 164, it is Mando Din Djarin and Ahsoka Tano just leaping through the rooftops like they're Batman and Robin of space. It's the energy that I grew up with from comic books, the power of sequential art, the power of freezing a character in a moment of action and makes them iconic. It makes their activity iconic. It's that, like, how can you capture in one frozen moment what this mood is, what this character means? And then in a comic book, and obviously in film and television, it's also the sequential, the movement. And I love that on page 164 at the top there's this one big image that I'd also put on my wall. That's just Ahsoka the Jedi just getting so much height.
Getting some air,
Some big air. That's just a total Batman, Spider-Man pose, but without the cape, just leaping through the air, arms extended, legs pulled up as though she just launched and she's preparing for the next landing. And then behind her, doing his best to keep up. Is Din, jumping, one knee up, cape that he does have flailing behind him, kind of clearly on the rooftops like superheroes, a dark mood in the background. And then the two smaller images that look like they're kind of different angles or moods of the same image, but you look at them all together and the feeling is like you're watching them hop and leap across the rooftops.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you pointed that out. Yeah, Din has a jetpack and can get around and is skilled and athletic in his own way, but especially that big frame, it looks like you can hear him groaning. Like, oh, God, here we go. Another one. We got to leave another one. And she's just boing, boing, boing. And I got to get it. I got to get there.
Yeah, the ease and the power of her movement is just all there in this image, right?
Oh, totally. A lot of grace. Absolutely. Perfect 10 on form. She's doing great. And he's just trying to keep up, which I get.
Yeah. I like when you say perfect 10, it makes me think like Din's experiencing one of those moments where he watches the Olympics and he's like, I could do that.
Yeah.
Ooh, no, I'm working.
There's this wonderful, beautiful art here, and I believe this is also from Brian Mathias as well. But at the bottom of this, Joseph, you got to highlight this yellow legal pad sketch from Filoni of them on the roof. From that to this.
Oh yeah. I gotta do some flipping to fully capture that.
It's just right? Filoni, yeah. Bottom of 164. Filoni is he's a known doodler and he's got his own art skills as well. This is where his skill sets kind of began. But it's just. It's Ahsoka, it's Mando, and it's the cityscape and a red sky, and it's like, yeah, here it is. By the way, this is more skills than I would ever have in a drawing, and he's just gonna cool, make something with that, and this is what we get on this page.
It's great. It's got that great sort of gesture drawing energy. There's a lot of motion in the lines. Good job, Filoni.
Good job, Dave. Love that there. That's a great choice. Well, Mando has arrived. He's listed in his own book here. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, so that's my number 4.
All right, my number 4, we're going a little bit later in the book, a little bit later in the story. It is actually a splash page as well on 394. No, that is not. Oh, that's weird. Sorry, it is the page. The version is number 394. The page is 232 and 233. And this is what I'm calling the heroes page. The image here is of Cara Dune, Casca Reeves, Bo-Katan, and Fennec Shand. This is towards the end of Mando Season 2. Their big stand. They're running through the ship, running and gunning, saving the day. It is a wonderful hero shot. And I'm calling them heroes, but it's also not Barry part of the lead. It is these 4 ladies doing this thing. And I think heroes should be called heroes. But also I think it's important to pay respects to what this meant and what this meant for so many young girls watching this show, or anyone's inspired by this. I love this. I love what it means. It is a action figure shot. It is a poster you might hang on a wall, like your favorite sports heroes. Here's my favorite Mando heroes. I love everything about the design here, and just the image and the energy that these 4 heroes have just standing there. I mean, Bo-Katan, I've had Katie Sackhoff stare at me like that when she's been upset at me as producer schmoes know. And it's an energy, and everything about it's great.
Yeah, this is a great pick. There are a couple things I love about it. Obviously, yes, you can't ignore the ongoing relevance and importance of seeing all of these women characters together and projecting this kind of strength and vitality, and the fact that they are sitting in the command station, right?
Yeah.
They're sitting in the command station, and they've got an energy. Particularly Bo-Katan has this great energy of you are late to the meeting and you just said something stupid.
Totally. And Casca Reeves is like, yeah, what she said. She said.
Yep. So the energy is great. I can see a painting like this that is all about like the action, right there. Cara Dune does have her big old blaster on her hip.
Yeah.
But the whole thing there is with Bo-Katan's look, there is just sort of this the strength is about character and about ideas. It's not just action,
Yeah.
And that's
absolutely. Absolutely agree with that. And I love the description of the art on page 231, which again, this is a Brian Mathias. But I guess I'm drawn to his art here. He's all through this book, a lot of great artists here, but he's this fun image of all the heroic ladies after taking over Gideon's Bridge, intended to be from the point of view of Din Djarin. I love that. Go to your Bo-Katan, you're late for the meeting, but I just love that energy. That kind of reads. It makes sense.
You're late for the meeting and you said something, if not stupid, of just like, learn your Star Wars, Din Djarin.
Yeah, so I love this one a lot.
Galactic history.
And it almost go with me here. Almost has a old Kenner toy checklist vibe of collect them all. Here's your poster. Collect them all.
It really does. Another thing that I want to point out on this one, I think it's a lot of other places, but it's close to my heart. I started my creative life as a visual artist. Is just the thing that came to me when I was young, and I doodled, and people told me that was good. So that's what I thought about a lot. I went to college and got a visual art degree, not at an art school, at just the University of Minnesota, but in the art degree program, and coming as I did from a love of comic books and Star Wars and that, I like to draw with lines because that's what I learned, and that is a bumpy road. I don't know how much it has changed, but I definitely got some pushback from some of my teachers of art is shapes, like learn to paint properly. That's with shapes. If you add lines, it's illustration, like a comic book, and it is less than. Not all my teachers were that, but I definitely got some like, you could be good, but you use lines, and everyone knows that's bad. So to see something like this, which is a masterpiece of the chosen art form that's got, it's technically amazing, but it's got this fun energy where it is mostly, shapes and colors speaking to one another, but there's these fun edges of line, like looking around like Fennec Shan's face, and like that's an aesthetic that really speaks to me, partially because I grew up with comic books and partially because I have this memory of lines, being told lines are less than.
Lines bad, shapes good. Yes. Love that.
Yes.
Love that.
That is the Frankenstein summary of my art school experience, or art degree experience, I should say.
Love that. Love that. So that is my number 4, the heroes at large, staring at you for being late to the business meeting. Love that there. What is your number 3, sir?
My number 3, we are going to page 96, 97, another big spread. This one I am pretty sure is featured in the end credits, but I had to include it. It really spoke to me. It is the 2-page spread where Grogu is attacked by his food. There's a lot of great Grogu and food. This is one that it captures the spirit of what happens in the episode, but there's also just kind of like a level of comedy and specificity that's unique to the art itself.
Mm-hmm.
This is the image where he's got the bowl of, what ends up being kind of chowder, but there's some like bubbling and some rings, and you kind of don't know, like, is this some Grogu soupy cereal he's got going? Holding the giant spoon. Got one tentacle in his mouth. He's trying to eat back, but the tentacles are wrapping around his head, grabbing his cute little nose. It captures what I think is a point of Mandalorian of Grogu's relationship with eating sentient things.
Right.
And this one fights back.
Yeah. Turnabout fair play for that little devious Grogu. Yes.
Yeah, so it's the comedy of it. It's so well done. The light behind his thin little ears. Aw.
Oh yeah, my favorite little detail is those little wispy white hairs on his Grogu head there. It's
yeah. It looks like grass on a freshly cut lawn, right?
Yes.
God, and it's just that there's some space details of the spoon, but it's just a giant spoon. Yeah. It just captures that moment in the show, and also is kind of its own thing because it can't quite be this in the show. Yeah. And when it's just the frozen beat, you can just enjoy that beat.
No, that's a great point. Yeah, you're able to do a little bit different things here with this concept art, and the detail of him slurping one of the tentacles, but the look in his eyes of the other tentacles are getting me is captured really well.
I am in over my head. Yeah.
He has a giant McFlurry spoon as if he's gone through a McDonald's drive-in, and love it. And this is
yes, he does.
He does. Christian Alsman is the artist on this, and it no description. It's just tentacle soup version 1. And so there's no insight into what goes into it. But in my kind of headcanon, Joseph, like what as an artist, like what a joy to be like, all right, hey, we need you to do some concept art. The scene is Grogu's eating his chowder, and his chowder's fighting back. Go. Come up with
Could you please illustrate the chowder strikes back? Yes.
There's so much to it. Yeah.
Also a great follow on Twitter, this artist.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Good. I need to follow more concept artists. Why am I not doing that?
Great
I complain about Twitter, then there's probably gems like that out there for those kind of folks. There we go.
Yeah.
Great number.
But not a ton else to say about this one. It just captures the moment. It's beautiful.
Great number 3 choice indeed. My number 3, going back, I think I was just flipping through the book here, and it's hard not to just go in order. And I remember at one point reminding myself, you have almost got your 5 choices and you haven't even gone a quarter through the book. So I slowed down a little bit, but we are going back to towards the beginning, page 33. This is the Marshall Speeder version 7. This is supposed to be Cobb Vanth because Cobb Vanth at this point has Boba Fett's armor. So it is Boba Fett riding on his, it is Cobb Vanth in Boba Fett's armor riding on the speeder. That, of course, is essentially like Anakin's pod race engine is what we got going here. And I absolutely love that on the show. I love design. And this design, it is not only just has a lot of action and movement to it and all those wonderful things. Yes, but it looks like it's on the side of like a toy box. It makes me want to buy this as a toy. And Anton Grandert is the concept artist who put this one together. I love it. And it speaks. We got original trilogy energy, of course, with Fett. We've got the pod race prequel era energy and all coming together, celebrated on the show, celebrating that moment, but definitely celebrating the art. And there again, too, if you're as an artist said, hey, we need this, someone in Fett's armor riding a pod engine, but as a converted speeder, go for it. Make this happen. And this happened.
Yeah, if you didn't know better, you would just say it's Fett, right? Because from this image, there's some of the things that identify him as the sort of Cobb Vanth wearing the armor. Mm-hmm. So obviously we know it's the character Cobb Vanth, but just looking at the art, it does just look like, wow, Boba Fett salvaged Anakin's pod racer and has just turned it into a speeder, and it's just got it's classic, energy of racing and moving, right, with his cape fluttering and the way the engine is illustrated with the kind of fender part sticking out the front. It makes it even more like it's racing toward you.
Yeah, and I'll sneak in another choice here, but up top there's another the pod engine speeder version 1, and it's the same concept, Cobb Vanth and the Boba Fett armor, but the speeder is one half of Bulba's pod race engine, equally as distinct, but works for me at another level. But I like the choice they went with. But I love that. And you and I being fans of the prequel era, but I'm specifically loving pod racers and pods and all that kind of stuff. It's just so fun to see. Again, people who love Star Wars, creating Star Wars, just having fun celebrating all corners of the galaxy.
Yeah. I'd also shout out another one of the pod engine speeder version 2A, where it's kind of almost on the engine backwards. So there's nothing in front of the figure. And it's that classic Star Wars. Like there's nothing about that looks safe.
No, nothing. It looks hot. It looks burny. And it almost as if it's all right, Boba Fett's armor, someone in it riding a horse, but the horse is an engine. Go.
And make sure it's really easy to fall off of.
Yeah. Love that. Love this. That's my number 3 choice. I do love this. And if I could ever get my hands on a figure toy set of this, I absolutely would buy that in a second.
Good choice.
All right, we're moving through a lot of fun stuff to discuss here, but we are up to our number 2 choices. Joseph, what is your number 2 favorite piece of art from the Art of Mandalorian Season 2 book?
My number 2 is one that I had not seen before I got this book, and one that I literally gasped. There's just such power to it. It is obviously related to what we see in the show, but it has obviously an earlier, different idea, some different energy. I'm going to page 138, and it is Ahsoka before the Magistrate.
Yes.
So it's the chapter that introduces the discussion of this episode, the Jedi, and it's obviously a slightly different take on the character that would become the Magistrate. But it's just this incredibly powerful image of Ahsoka's great, but the camera, the viewer is to her back. She's got her lightsaber held up. The lightsaber is igniting blue in a classic sort of defensive pose. But the thing that just kind of blew me away is the sheer power from the Magistrate.
Yeah.
So she is standing, just rod straight, great robes, mix very much the samurai look, mix of armor and robes, red and a kind of a very light, muted purple, staff in a hand, held down, and the other hand kind of extended, it looks like throwing her robe away. Yeah, that's what tossing her robe away. So it is this frozen image of let's fight.
Yeah.
But I think the power of it for me is, this version of the Magistrate is up above Ahsoka and is just pulsing with power. And just this image makes me afraid for Ahsoka. And I've seen the episode multiple times. I know how it works out. But this episode makes me just feel like that figure has so much power, and Ahsoka is literally beneath her with the blade up. But like, can Ahsoka possibly step to this power? It's just, it's gorgeous.
Oh, it's very just Star Wars to the core, including the influences of the design, the character, and what Filoni put into that episode as a writer director of it. But yeah, I love the energy doesn't even encapsulate it. You're right. The power in the art is very clear. Jumps off the page.
Yeah, and the way that the robe is being thrown away, of course, anytime the robe is taken off in these Star Wars samurai contexts of like, all right, we're serious now. But her hand has this sort of, that's throwing it, has this sort of flippant quality, right? It's just kind of like dismissing the robe. And like that energy is even scarier than if it was like this big sort of throw with her fingers, tensed. It's got that like the ease of that gesture makes it feel like the magistrate's like, I am going to kick your bleep and I'm not going to break a sweat. It's so easy.
Yeah. Well, it speaks to this design, just really speaks to the skilled fighter that she is, right? And it works for your wife Sarah is a classically trained modern dancer, right?
Yeah.
Fans listening should know that. Like I've seen Sarah order a drink with grace that I would never have in my life, right?
Yes.
The movements are always going to be there. The control is always going to be there. And this reminds me of that kind of like, I am tossing my robe away, but it is with the skill of a fighter about to kill you. I love everything about it.
Yeah, you made the great joke about Olympic marks. Like if this was Olympic games, and like, ooh, robe removal before fight, 10.
10.
Yeah, that's my number 2. Just it's a different image, encapsulates the same ideas, but it is such power.
Love it. Great sequence. I kind of want to. I haven't done the real big Mando season 2 rewatch, but talking about all this is making me push that up in my schedule.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
All right, my number 2 choice, we are going to page 75, which means it puts us at chapter 10. Oh, this is an episode full of controversial egg-eating, frog ladies, an icy, not Hoth-like snow planet, and scary spiders. But also, underrated in that is a really damn good spaceship chase. And I think that is kind of encapsulated by the art here on page 75, going towards the bottom specifically. This is the Razor Crest chase version 212. This is 2 X-Wings coming out of the ice canyon pursuing the Razor Crest. You want to talk about energy? You want to talk about just a painting that you can just stare at? And as a kid, I think this art makes me think of some of those old Macquarie concept arts, just things you'd see back in the day, where just this picture, 2 X-Wings chasing this spaceship. If I just saw that on a postcard or a trading card, my imagination as a 7-year-old would just spin into hyperdrive, and I would be just imagining what's happening next. Why are they chasing this ship? Where's the ship going to go? When are they firing? I love that kind of stuff, and this is it's beautiful. And Doug Chiang actually said about this in the book, this is almost taken right out of The Empire Strikes Back in the asteroid crater. I thought it'd be really fun to play with that, so that subliminally it matches that shot, but texturally it's very different. And there you go, some of that core Star Wars stuff. We talk about poetry when it comes to themes and plot and reveals, but also the design, keeping it like that, and just kind of you look at this picture and you are kind of transported back to those other days whenever you first saw Empire Strikes Back. So I love this. You talk about things I'd love to hang on a wall from this book. This is one of the pieces I'd put in my office post haste if I were to get it.
Yeah, this is a great example of take what you know in Star Wars and make it new. So it's like got like flash and verve and fun of the new, but also that deep sort of feeling of like, I remember this, I've known this, that image has it for me of like, I think I could flip past this and go, is this a Macquarie illustration I forgot about? Like, obviously it's still in Doug Chiang's style, and his contribution is, it's impossible to sum up in words. So I don't want to diminish Doug Chiang by saying it looks like Macquarie, but it's just it's that perfect mix of it's just got the mood and the energy of the kinds of art that Macquarie was after, of exactly what you were saying, of capturing a moment where the landscape is fun and bizarre, you recognize some of the ships, but you don't know what that other thing is. And we're frozen in a moment of conflict and we don't know how it ends.
Yeah, and so much on this page and the page before that this concept artist Anton Grander again just capturing just what this planet is and what they wanted to do. And you're reading some of the notes here of just like, we knew snow planet, ice planet. We wanted no one to think it's Hoth. And I'm reading some of the notes and I'm looking at some of the art here and just laughing at even us going, is that Ilum? Could it be Ilum? It does have kinds of shades of Ilum. Is it Hoth? I don't know. It's a brand new planet, which we are so happy to know now. And I love the design again. Just great.
Yeah, absolutely great choice.
All right. Well, we are racing through this like X-Wings, flown by Carson Teva, chasing a Razor Crest. You could drive an X-Wing too. We are going to be taking a quick break here in Star Wars Rank, but when we come back, some honorable mentions and our number one choices for our favorite pieces of art in the Art of Mandalorian Season 2. Stick around for more Star Wars Rank. Welcome back to Star Wars Ranked. Ken Napzok here with Joseph Scrimshaw. We are ranking our favorite pieces of art from the Art of Mandalorian Season 2 book. It's been out for a little bit now, but we are very fortunate to get our hands on it here. And we are having a lot of fun diving through all of these. And of course, that means we're going to leave some of them on the cutting room floor, so to speak. Joseph, what are some of your honorable mentions?
One of my honorable mentions is the talk about action figures. I had a part of this action figure. It's on page 154, and it's just, hey, what if Mando rode Maul's speeder from the Phantom Menace?
I love that. So Boba it's put Mando on Maul's speeder. Love it.
I remember being so excited when the Phantom Menace era merch got around to making a Maul on his speeder. I didn't know it was called I believe the Bloodfin at the time. Right. But this is just so great. It's this is one of those pictures like I'm glad to see they tried things. You're like, what if? And there's just because Maul's speeder is so compact. I don't know. There's just like it has a little bit of, you know what it is? It has a little bit of Mando on a Vespa vibe, which obviously would go on to be quite controversial, but I just love it. It's a fun mashup of Maul and Mando. How could you not like that?
Yeah, totally. Talk about the figures being played with. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Another one is I was drawn to some of the art that isn't these great big pictures that are captured in this moment, but more kind of figuring out exactly how is a process going to look like. And I hate to celebrate something bad happening to a Tusken, but on page 61, figuring out how the acid of the Tusken or of the Krayt Dragon is going to melt the Tusken. There's this, it's like a water on a witch in Wizard of Oz, the melting of the Tusken, where it's the first image is kind of smoking in some stuff and then kind of wilting and then just robes.
The melting of the Tusken sounds like some ceremony they do in the tribes. Like it's like, melting away the barriers around your heart. But this one's a little different.
Yeah. A little different, a little more visceral. So I love that one. Share one more and then kick it back to you if you'd like. I'm trying to find the page for this one. Page 79. This is an image that's very close, I think, to kind of what we ultimately got mood-wise, but I just love it because it, again, captures a little bit of a comic book vibe for me. It is Frog Lady and Mando running from the spiders. Frog Lady's in front, a look of just sheer, I got to get out of here on her face. Mando's firing behind him. The ice spiders, just a huge mass of them with the scary red eyes coming. I said comic book, but ultimately, you know what this is? This is one of those images that really, really reminds me of the pulp roots, the paperbacks and the weird tales origins of Star Wars. I know I go on about them a lot. I know they're important to Mandalorian, but it's one of the reasons I love this chapter, and it so captures that, right? That point of this kind of art that on pulp covers and paperbacks was often painted for a while. It was sort of like the last bastion of any kind of realism in modern art. But it's designed to make you go, what the hell is going on? And to elicit, like, it's designed to make you buy it, to make you go, what's going on? What deep fears might it tap into? What's that frog lady? What she's got in her back? Is that guy going to be captured by those spiders? I hate spiders. Like, it's designed, that's what's so attractive about it. It's fun, but it's also designed to make you pick you up and buy it because it excites you or scares you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all in this image.
Imagine if you were shown this before even the Mandalorian series debuted, you'd be like, wait, there's a frog, Boba Fett, and space Shelobs. What's going on here? I'm into this.
Right? And they're on an ice planet. And we've talked so much about how that just evokes fantasy of it's like another planet, but ice.
But ice.
Yeah. So that's one of my runners up. Love this one.
Love that. Yeah, I have a few here. Page 114. I titled this A Collection of Kargas. I'm flipping to it now. It is just all the art. And again, Brian Mattis does this there. It is Carl Weathers' Grief Karga, but it's like 3 different versions of them, different kind of robes, maybe a long kind of almost duster version. I like that version a lot than the kind of more of a classic cape robe kind of setup there. But it's just great as a Carl Weathers fan. So thankful he's in the series. So thankful he's directing. And there's some great stuff in this. If you read the write-up of this episode of Favreau kind of going, I knew Carl Weathers was a director. I just didn't feel he had maybe gotten that chance, on a bigger scale, and happy to have him here and happy to do it. And it was action. He knows that so well. Like, it was just a perfect mix. And I love that. I love that about the Mandalorian series, that they did that. And so I love the character of Grief Karga. And this is a collection of Kargas that I would hang on my wall.
It is great. I love the final design, but I love the middle one with the longer jacket, the red. That just great.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also love that this really does look like you can put this on your fridge, a collection of like Grief Karga magnets, and try out different outfits because he's got that same
like those
hand on the hip casual boss pose in every one.
What is this, a little pin on clothing there or whatever? Yeah.
Like you got just Grief Karga in his space briefs, and then you can try out these different outfits on top of it.
Love that there. So that starts off my honorable mentions. On page 181, it is the Razor Crest destroyed. I mean, ouch, babe. This is the one. And this is, I think it's Ryan Church is the author or the artist who does this one. And he's in the notes describing it. Doug came to me as actually, we read that again. Doug came to me in parentheses as designer of the Razor Crest, which means Doug had to kill this Razor Crest. How hard would that have been? So Doug came to him and says, I think John's talking about the Razor Crest getting destroyed. And I said, oh, you mean when it comes back, right? Doug's like, no, it really gets blown up. You could hear the pain in these concept artists, these designers who designed this wonderful, beautiful, iconic ship. And then we as fans all had that reaction, especially those who maybe donated to crowdfundings of the toys, Joseph.
Yep. I have a very large in memoriam toy.
Yeah. And this was I just happened, that was the week I had pulled out the Lego Razor Crest and built it. And was planning to build it. No one knew this was coming except for, the people behind the show. But I really love the description here of, yes, it's just this wonderful, big, visceral destruction of the Razor Crest. But then even the artists are like, yeah, John's going to destroy it. Oh no. Love that story.
I love the phrasing of, I think John's talking about, like, just overheard in the kitchen.
Yeah, like he's in there cooking a pizza with Robert Rodriguez for that Netflix show. My favorite thing to reference because I love the show. And then Doug comes running in. Oh no, I heard him tell Robert Rodriguez we're going to destroy it.
It is an effective image too, because it is clearly devastatingly destroyed, but enough pieces to make it entirely recognizable.
Yeah, love that there. Another one for me, and I'll kick it back to you here, is on page 220, 221, a splash page, but more of a fire page, you know what I mean? It is dual flamethrowers. It is Boba Fett, and Casca Reeves, and Brian Matt wrote this one, drew this one, and says, fire cancels out fire, right? 10-year-old me always wanted to see Boba Fett do something like this. That is a lot about the spirit of the show. This we know. We talk about it often. Action figures on the floor. Star Wars fans at heart. And just asking, why not? Why couldn't we see Boba Fett and his flamethrower meeting the flamethrower of an adversary? And we've got this on display in this wonderful poster art.
Yeah, that one is powerful too, and just great composition, and just that kind of that minimal energy. You kind of see the bar in between, but it's just the two figures very far apart, and their flames meeting in the middle. Just great composition.
Absolutely. So I have a couple more, but what are some of your other honorable mentions?
Yeah, we're going to page 157. I had a hard time narrowing down my Ahsoka images, but this is the one where Ahsoka's on a kind of a cliff with just the robe flying. There's just I think there's such power in that it's a different drawing of her, right? It's I think it's kind of looking at where's she at, right?
Yeah.
And this looks like a powerful Jedi at peace, the way her feet are kind of poised together. She's almost like standing on the incline of this hill or mound, but it doesn't seem to matter. Eyes kind of closed in meditation, but head held high. And then just, look, this is why we wear capes and robes in space fantasy. And let's be honest, in real life, we don't wear them for when they make it awkward when you sit down or when they get trapped in revolving doors. We wear them for when the wind billows and makes you majestic as all hell. And I like that this is a different take on the robes. They're almost, they're kind of frayed and old, but there's a huge volume to them. And just, again, the great composition that the hill drives your eye upward and your eye goes up this really rigid, straight form that Ahsoka has. And there's this rigidity. And then there's this huge sweep of energy outward from her robe. So it's like an image of organic, rigid versus the organic and flowing in Star Wars. And the energy in that robe is just fantastic.
It is indeed very classic Star Wars photo there. Love that.
Yeah, so that is one of my runners up. My last runner up is just kind of that's a cool one that I have a hard time resisting. I am going to, what page is that one? That is page 187, and it is just Grogu chokes the trooper. It's a long panel. It is two troopers on the ground bathed in red light. Tiny Grogu in the back with a little spotlight on him and floating up out of the frame, just his buttocks, dangling feet, and tortured hands of a trooper being choked by the adorable baby Yoda.
So adorable. So cute. So cute.
Great art, and it just captures that contrast of like, oh, he's so cute, except for when you try to put baby in a corner and then he fights.
Don't put baby in a corner, indeed. Great honorable mentions there. Final couple ones for me. Going towards the end of the book here, page 243, Christian Alsman wrote, I keep saying wrote, I'm just such a writer at heart, I guess. Alsman drew this piece of art of Grogu meets R2. Man, what a wonderful moment in the show. And I love this. It's from behind Grogu. You're looking up at R2. R2 almost looks like he's red, like you got a paint job. It's just the lighting of the design. You can see through Grogu's ears as you can, almost like a Chihuahua's ears. Love everything about it. It just really captures the spirit of one of my favorite moments in the show. So love that one there.
Absolutely great pick.
Final one for me before we get to our number one choices is on page 246 by Ryan Church, simply titled Bib the Hutt, version 300. Ryan says, when Doug said that Bib Fortuna would look a bit different now, an image just popped into my head of these giant growths on his head just circling around. The Leku have, unlike the controversy around Ahsoka, this is Bib's got a different look going, and just captures the essence of that scene, including like the surprise. We all kind of were like, whoa, post-credit scene and Bib's alive and he's on the throne and everything about it. And I just love, hey, can you design Bib the Hutt? Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
That is a fun assignment and very well done. And it makes me think of the character in Rogue One, Bib's cousin Beezer Fortuna, who the databank describes as having desiccated Leku.
That's right. That's right.
That Bib has the entire opposite of a desiccated Leku. He has a large and in charge Leku.
Plump with power.
Plump with power.
All right. Those are our honorable mentions. We are not quite done. We each have our number one selections here. I'll go first so Joseph can close the show with his number one. For me, I'm going to page 137, which is, I know, an entire page was close to your heart too, Joseph, so we'll talk about that. But the bottom of page 137 is a piece of art that literally made me laugh out loud in the most wonderful of ways when I turned the page and saw this. It is, and here's the actual title, art by Christian Alsman, Cookies Tossed version 434, which means I would love to see all 433 versions of Cookies Tossed before, if that's what the numbering exactly means there. Cookies Tossed, version 434, is as you'd expect. It is Grogu sitting strapped in the Razor Crest. It is cute little adorable robe. We all know his little outfit, little toes, his toes just pointed up, and that face and that look in his eyes of, oops, I did a bad. And then here he is. He's holding the space macaroon package, and he's just covered in barf. It is disgusting. It is adorable. It is endearing. It is everything about Grogu that we love. We love to celebrate. And that is the complicated nature of Grogu doing everything he thinks he wants to do. He gets away with it until he starts to learn that's not the way. Love it. Love it. Talk about art I'd hang on a wall. I might want to make this one into a van mural. I'll have to buy a van, but now I want a van mural of Cookies Tossed version 334.
It is very, very worth it. The accuracy of the vomit dribble.
So detailed.
From the fall pattern to the consistency. Perfection, right? And then the other thing I like about this is just how vivid and clear the emptied sheet of cookies.
Yes.
The sheath, I guess, not sheet, the sheath, the wrapper. For anybody who's ever, opened a wrapper like that and be like, I'm going to have two, and like, oh no, it gets to you. It gets to you. Yeah. So so sometimes we exchange our lists, and if one of us has something on honorable mentions where the other's like, oh, that's one of my big ones. I had this on my honorable mentions because of the utter quality of the one that you picked out. But I also just love the fact that there are 4 images at the top. Nothing has changed about them, but the style of the cookies. And that speaks to, right? The nothing is under considered. Again, you might not agree with the final choice, but so much thought that they drew all of these different cookies just to decide, what does the cookie look like that Grogu eats?
I would love to hear from Christian Alsman if on the day that he was really digging into this, he just ordered and had delivered a bunch of cookies and just sat there eating all the cookies to see which one he wanted to put in the art.
Yeah, it's even in the text, right? He says, this was an interesting project. What was it? A week or so of cookie design? And having the child tossing them? Laughs.
Because what is your favorite one on this list there, the cookies?
This stopped me in my tracks when I knew that there was even a design consideration once of New Republic cookies.
New Republic, that's exactly it. It's the winner. There's some great designs.
Winner for me. Yeah.
Those kind of like ginger snappy cookies. There's some frosted ones, and then there's like the ones that I do like with the jellied fruit in the center, but they took that concept and it is like New Republic credits in cookie form.
You know what? What it makes me feel like? It makes me feel like Mon Mothma heard the real life meme that goes around of like, come to the dark side, we have cookies. And she was like, F that. The New Republic has cookies too.
This is how we'll get them. It's propaganda cookie making here, right? We like this propaganda though. Love it. No, it's like a red jellied New Republic symbol on a cookie. How have they not made these? These need to be available. Not forget space macaroons. I'll take those too, but I want these at Celebration. New Republic cookies.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would absolutely love that. Hey, do you think anybody will cosplay post-vomit Grogu?
I mean, if not, you've just laid down the gauntlet, and I want to see people hit that standard there. Jump that barrier. Please. That's amazing. Absolutely. And people, they're so creative with their cosplay that, up chucking Grogu, go for it.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, man. And I want those cookies so bad. I like the final design. I think it really works. And I like the weird Williams and Sonoma charging people bonkers amounts of money. But, man, I'd pay $50 for some New Republic cookies.
Yeah. Absolutely love that. Well, that is my number one choice. Cookies Tossed version 434. It's beautiful. Put it on a van indeed. But we are up to your number one choice, Joseph, your favorite piece of art from the Art of Mandalorian Season 2 book. What do you got?
So my number one, it's a tie, but it's on the same idea. And I was really struck when I was going through this book and picking out the images of like the different kinds of images, right? There's the art that's in the credits of the show, so we know it. There's the just kind of iteration on costumes or speeders. There's all sorts of different kinds of art. And one of the things that I forgot was in here is the art that is an effort to definitely come up with ideas, but to avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
I was so taken with that. So my number one is two pieces of art trying to make sure that no one figures out that Luke Skywalker is going to be in there. And instead, if it leaks, they will think it is the return of Jedi Master Plo Koon. So I am going first to what page is that? Page 242, which is just the image of Plo Koon. It is clearly working out, I'm sure, within the art as well, like actual ideas of looks for Luke coming down the hallway and taking out the dark troopers. But this is just Plo Koon in the midst of dark trooper carnage, and it's a great image. Plo Koon, the camera's kind of a little low, so looking up, a little bit of a hero shot. You see a broken and dismembered dark troopers on the ground, then Plo Koon with lightsaber ignited but held down. He's clearly done with his work, but the thing that makes it sing, his other hand is reaching up, using the Force to pin just the top half of a dark trooper against the wall. The dark trooper is just like sparking and dying. It's such a great frozen moment. Oh, there's a cut in the roof of the hallway that make it look like Plo Koon cut through that and leapt down there, cut through them all. And he's just holding that one dark trooper is probably still like, yelling orders. And Plo Koon's just like holding it there with the Force going, I'm thinking about what's next.
Yeah. Oh, and I missed it when I on the next page is the Grogu meets R2 art that I mentioned. I made a mistake. I said, R2 is colored a little different because of the lighting. No, Christian Alsman says I was very careful to color this so that it didn't look like a certain famous droid, because in the art that you've selected here, R2's there, but it is red as well. So I love that they needed to even hide R2. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Very, very good point with that great red look for R2. Yeah. So I think for me, obviously, this art is still figuring things out. It's still being practical, but it's also like, hey, for something that's not going to be in the show, did you have to go this hard? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to close out with this other image that is technically Plo Koon, but you don't see him as much. And to bring it back home to the titular Mandalorian, I'm going to page 214, an image that isn't in the show. But if I saw this image before I knew anything about the show, I might have exploded.
Yeah.
The image is the bridge that of the Imperial cruiser that we're familiar with. It's got this kind of great shot that there's been lots of iterations of in Star Wars lately, of a standoff duel, and in the foreground is a hand and a weapon, and then back further is the full-bodied figure of the other opponent. It's a little different here though, because the hand in the foreground is this black glove, and then the blue blade of a lightsaber, really just dissecting the image down the middle in a diagonal. So it has this different energy. It's not the same shot that we've seen a lot now of the hand on the hip of the blaster. It's taken up a ton of the frame. So there's a ton of power in it. And it's this blue blade and a black hand, and who's holding it? But then to end back on our main character, to see this image of Din, he doesn't do this in the show, right? The Darksaber ignited and up, in a fighting stance, leaning back, ready to get into it with whoever this mystery figure is. This is just one of those great images of like trying to step back from it, and before the Mandalorian is even announced, like, what is this? Whose lightsaber is that? What is that black blade? Like, if I hadn't seen that in Clone Wars, it's just pure undiluted Star Wars, and it's so exciting.
No, it could easily be the cover of this book, though they have a great photo of Din and Grogu, a great piece of art. This is a cover. This is a cover. It's almost like a comic book cover.
Yeah, no, it really, and it's even spaced like a comic book where there's room for some hyperbole of like, can Din survive his encounter with the mystery Jedi?
Yeah, right. God, who that is? No, it's a great shot, great design, the detail as well on Mando and Din. You're right. If we at one point, if you're shown this, you'd be like, why is that Django with the? What is going on here? It's not quite Boba Fett. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. It's just a great, beautiful, beautiful image. And I think it's fun to see art in an art of book where, yeah, that kind of image of Din, fully wielding the Darksaber, that's not in this part of the show, but it's coming up real soon.
It is on the way. It is on the way. Man, that is a wonderful way to end this episode. The mystery of Plo Koon returning and the image of Din with the Darksaber, something key to his existence, his life, his arc going forward. We'll see where that all ends up. Been a lot of fun to look at this book. We really clearly love it. And I love that this is kind of this tradition of art and behind the scenes. It's kind of part of being a Star Wars fan and has been since pretty much the beginning, when a lot of these behind the scenes people, in the past, you might know them if you were a film school person, but now they're part of the pop culture landscape, the Doug Changs of the world, the Joe Johnsons, the Dennis Mirans, and the list goes on and on and on. And now so many great artists in this book written by Phil Sostak. We absolutely love it. So Joseph, thank you, sir, for your list. Great stuff.
Yeah, thank you. This was really a ton of fun to really just fully engage with the visual of Star Wars, as well as all of the great texts and insights. So, ton of fun. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, and we recommend if you've got this book, if you're like me, sometimes I just kind of poke through, look at the pictures, and just kind of I'll keep coming back to it. It's a great coffee table book, but I do suggest when you get a chance, sit down and kind of read it cover to cover. So many wonderful morsels in there, and unfortunately, occasionally, these little comments get clipped out and become clickbait of "Did you know, Jordan?" Just got to get the full picture. It's a really fun read. We really recommend it.
Yeah, I really agree with that. This one in particular had some great insights to me of just perspective, not even like, oh, wow, I didn't know that, but just really reminding you of where the artists and creators are coming from. This is Star Wars is so much about perspective, and this is so well written by Phil Sostak to just remember to take a moment in your Star Wars opinions and just imagine being in the role of these creators and the kind of thought and attention that they give everything.
Absolutely. Well, we are almost out of here this week. If you want to find us and share your own choices here, you can always do that by using the hashtag Star Wars Ranked on Twitter. We are at Force Center Pod. We're on Instagram, YouTube as well. Facebook page is Force Center Podcast. We are available in a lot of different spots: Acast, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Just search and find us. You can get an audiobook on us if you'd like to by going to audibletrial.com/Force Center. You can get merch at tpublic.com/user/Force Center. And you could support us directly at patreon.com/Force Center. You can follow me at Ken Napzok or go to my website, kennapzok.com. Joseph, where can they go for you, sir?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok is at Joseph Scrimshaw. And for all of my other comedy adventures, you can find me on my website at josephscrimshaw.com.
So that is it for this week. So for all these wonderful artists who had to sit down and do the impossible task of designing Grogu throwing up, we appreciate it. That is it for this week. Star Wars has been ranked.